Alright, here's my buddy's 2016 Laramie Longhorn. Got the 6.7 in it. It's a really nice truck. I'm not a Dodge person, but if I was, this would be what I want. So we're pulling the fuel pump off, or the fuel tank out, to change the fuel pump. And here's the new one. He said it was right around $500 from Dodge. And I've already taken, if you crawl up under, look at yours, there is a nut in the front, a nut in the back that holds the straps that holds the tank on. And then once you let the straps down, you have to undo 2 fuel lines and the electrical connection. That's what I'm working on now. Also, when you go in from underneath, right here behind this, there's going to be, this one does have an auxiliary fuel tank on it. The tube on the end of this and the tube right here has got to be unhooked. It's just hose clamps. Almost forgot to mention the small ground wire that's right there by my finger. It's held to the frame by one 10mm nut. I need to get that too. So I've already done that, and I've already gotten the straps off.
You on the phone?
No.
Oh.
And get the electrical and the fuel lines undone, and we'll be ready to set the tank on the ground. To get the little red lockout right there, to keep from messing it up or damaging it, I took 2 small flat blade screwdrivers and got under the far side and got under the collar and applied a low pressure, and also took a flat blade on the side that you can see and got against the flat portion and pressed from one side, pulled from the other, and it unlocked relatively easily, and then pushed down on the lock on the connector itself, and it slipped right out. So I wasn't used to the way that this is attached on these. This is what I'm used to seeing, where you squeeze these 2 down and the hose slips off. On this, there's a lock. I'll put a picture in right here somewhere, but you push that lock to this side and you'll hear it click, and then you can come around and push down and you'll hear it click and just slide that plug out. I had never messed with the Dodge this year before, and then on this one I'm still kind of I don't know what to think about this one, because the best of my understanding, if you flip it over, you just pull this right here up, and when you pull it up, it will release. And I got one. There you go. Hold that camera. When you pull this up like that, and then get on the other side and pull this side up like that, this hose comes off. Well, you may have to pull it a little bit further, but and then I can't grab now because I took it off. Alright, now if we see that, explain to me how that was supposed to come out like that. I don't get it. So I just took it loose from the fuel filter housing, which is the same concept. You just take and pull this tab back, and then I pulled it all the way out, took it down off the fuel filter housing, and then now that I've got it out, you just need to flip that over, pop this out, and now this is off. So that's how you do that, because I spent a lot of time trying to, without being able to see it, try to figure out how to get that off. Got the fuel pump out, and the first thing we noticed when we pulled it out, we turned it upside down, there's a lot of metal right there. We dug a lot of it out and still don't know. And when you rub your fingers around here, you can feel metal protruding through the little screen on the strainer. Now, if all them little holes, like I say, we've got a lot of it out, like I'm digging that piece out right there. I wished I could get this strainer off, but if you see right here, that looks like where the pickup tube is, where it actually picks up from, right around from here. So I'm wondering if that thing hadn't started stopping up with them little metal shavings, because if the big stuff got caught in them little holes, what got through? So we're going to try to figure this out for a minute, and may even wash this tank out. I want you guys to see what kind of Kind of like fishing for and now I'm not rubbing it up and down the sides. I'm just dropping it down in there, just seeing what happens. And I don't know if we'll get out of it what we got out of it a while ago. But you can see all that metal around on that magnet. The first time we pulled it back, there was shavings standing plumb up out of the. Tell you what, let's lay it down. Can we lay it all the way down? Here, I got it. That wash up in there. And now stand it back up. You're right, I should have got a video picture of it first time we pulled it back, but golly. Alright. I mean, I don't know if y'all see that, but that still ain't half what was on it the first time we pulled it back. So that's how I know you got something bad going wrong, losing metal into your fuel system. And if anybody watching that has done this before, that's getting that kind of metal back out of a tank, I don't know if this truck's got the CP3 or the CP4 pump on it. It's a 2016 Dodge Longhorn Laramie with a 6.7 on it. And if anybody got any comments or, you know, just seen this kind of metal and what did you do, or what kind of issues did you have later, or what you did to fix the problem, comment and let us know. Because at this point we're kind of thinking we need to start looking at a high pressure pump for it, the injector pump. It actually cleaned up pretty good compared to that first time. See it all around in there. But yeah, I wished I'd have got that first time we pulled. I cleaned that magnet where it was almost like new, and dropped it in there, and it didn't have any metal on it. It had some different stuff on it, but man, that blows my mind. First thing you want to do is make sure this groove right here is really clean. Go ahead and put your new O-ring down, and I already set this in and pulled it back out because I didn't think about getting the video. And then set it right straight down in, and I check my orientation, make sure that the fuel lines and all is facing back the other direction. And this here is a little lineup tab. And then make sure all those get started. Take your hammer and screwdriver and start working your way around. Don't set and drive it from one spot, but make sure and work your way around, or it kind of gives everything a chance to center up. Make sure all of your latches are over top too. How you know when you're done? You see there's a indentation right here that fits right into this right here, and it keeps that thing from spinning. So that's done, and it also has taken all the slack out of these. So that's how you know when you're tight enough. Pull this here off. Take your little connector. That's got that. Now when you put your fuel line back on, it'll just slip up over there, and that'll hold it in place. the pressure holding that together will also keep it slipping off that little ridge right there. Plug it in. Go ahead and put our other one on. And then this hose right here that I had such a time getting off, go right like that. So now it's on. This one's already got the lock back in it. So when I go to put it back on the fuel filter housing, I should just pop up and it pop right in place. So now we're ready to slide the tank back under the truck. Well, we're gonna put this back on. Then we'll slide the tank back under the truck. And put the new fuel pump and the fuel tank back in. There's 2 of these. I didn't do a little better as the tank was coming out. There's one here, one there. Then there's this fuel line right here that I took off, so I didn't have to undo it from the top of the tank. That's what I was showing you all ago. And then I dropped the tank down just a little bit. There is a vent tube. You can see it right there, and it just pulls off. It's on a barbed fitting, so you can just pull that plastic line off right there. And then there's the plug up on top in the center. You do the plug, and the other fuel line just pinches together and pulls off. It's not a big deal. Here are your filler tubes. This one has an auxiliary fuel tank in it, and that is what this nozzle up here is for, and that other little fuel line is for the fuel to run down and hit this, and it runs on into the tank. You don't take any of this stuff loose. There's another clamp right back here, of course, the hard one to get to. You take the small clamp off this line, the big clamp off this line, and then as you let the fuel tank down, slip those hoses off. And that's about all there is to it. And then when you're putting it back together, you just do it right in reverse. Alright, so I wanted to give an update on my buddy with the Dodge. We put the fuel pump in. It's been about a week. He's put over 2,500 miles on it, towing and not towing. And he said so far it's doing really good. And what the truck was doing before, the issues it was having before, was a code P0087, which referenced to low fuel rail pressure. And my thoughts on that, as soon as he told me about it, I was worried that the injection pump might be getting weak or might be failing, whatever. And then he told me that he said, well, it only does it when it's less than a quarter tank. The lower the fuel level gets, the worse it does it. And I'm thinking, well, that doesn't make any sense. And that's why I started thinking the pump in the tank, because if your fuel level gets, best of my understanding, once your fuel level gets so low, that fuel pump stands where it stands, and if the level gets lower than that, then you could have some of the pump exposed at the top, and that pump actually stays cool from being submerged in that fuel. So it was 5 years old. It didn't really make sense, but it kind of did. That could be the problem. It was about the only thing that went together and correlated with the less than a quarter tank of fuel. Is when it gave the issues. And he says that since we put it in, he's ran it down really low, no issues, towing no issues, and all that. So the one thing that really does still bother me is all the metal that we found in that tank when we pulled it off. That first, I didn't get that on camera, but the first time I dropped that magnet in there and pulled it back, it was rounded over with metal shavings and slivers. So that blew my mind. I've never seen anything like that come out of a fuel tank. If you guys have seen a lot of metal in one of these tanks, especially on one of the Dodges, and what come after that, I'd appreciate you let me know in the comments, because I've never seen anything like that. I still feel like the high pressure, the injector pump could be, wearing down, could be coming apart. I hope that's not it. He says it's great right now. I worry that the smaller fragments of metal got up into that strainer, stopped up the strainer, and it was also causing it to get hot from that. And then if the fuel level got down less than a quarter tank, that would cause it to get even hotter. That's my way of thinking. I could be dead wrong, but I do believe that the fuel pump did have issues, and I believe that that's got him fixed up for now. But like I say, I'm really curious to know if anyone else has had issues where they found a lot of metal in the tank. Did that lead back to being the high pressure pump,
or was it something else, or what was your experience with it? I appreciate you guys for watching. Like, share, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. I'll also give an update if anything else does happen to this truck in one of my future videos. If it could be 2 years, but if something does go on with it, I will put it in the next video, and I'll actually come back and notate it in the comments on this one. Like I said, thanks for watching.